There's a war on Halloween, and a lot of us don't even notice that it's happening. Here's why. Halloween as we know it nowadays is a very festive and innocent holiday. Sure, it may be known for some pranks and other things along those lines, but overall, it's a really fun and playful thing. However, the holiday has a history behind it that's a little bit more controversial than you may think. It goes back a long time, and we're going to be diving into that today. However, there seems to be an attack on Halloween and what it stands for even today. Could this be because of its somewhat controversial past, or is it something else? Well, in this video we're going to be taking a look at all of that, and trying to find an answer to all these questions. So welcome to the war on Halloween. So, if we go back hundreds of years, all of Halloween is essentially from an old Celtic or Celtic, I'm going to be saying Celtic, I don't know what the proper way of saying it is, I think it's Celtic. There was a festival by the name of Samhain. This served a few different purposes. One of them being it was the end of the harvest season, and was essentially a celebration of the incoming winter. Another, which is a lot more interesting, being that the Celtic people believed that on this day, the realm between the spirits and the living sort of got a lot thinner. They believed that on October 31st, the spirits could kind of roam the earth again, and this was kind of a good thing and a bad thing. You see, in a lot of ways, people were enjoying it because they believed their family members could return. So some of the Celtic people who believed in this would, for example, at dinner, leave a spot open for deceased family members so they could dine with them. But on another side of the coin, they also believed that evil spirits would roam the earth, leading a lot of these people to disguise themselves. So these evil spirits didn't know who they were and couldn't harm them. Sound kinda familiar? A little bit? A big thing in Samhain were these bonfires. On this day, the Celtic people would basically all gather up and make a massive bonfire. Usually these bonfires are made from wood, but mostly animal bones, which is kind of where actually the name comes from. Bonfire, bone, fire. It's kind of interesting. It is said that sometimes animal sacrifices would take place during these bonfires to appease the spirits for peace among the people. These bones are from animals that have already been eaten, so there's just all these leftover bones. They burn them, they turn to ash, there you go, gets rid of your bones, but also is symbolic for the holiday. Lots of Celtic people would take the ash of the bones and put it on their faces as another means of disguising themselves. And this was another part of the tradition. So all was well and good, and Samhain was being celebrated until Christianity stepped in. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III basically came in and said, you know what, this is potentially satanic, since a lot of it had an association with death, and Christians really kind of don't like that, especially at the time when they were very superstitious about everything being satanic, and witches, and all that stuff. So the Pope designated November 1st as All Saints' Day, otherwise known as All Hallows' Day. This is a day that would essentially incorporate a lot of the Celtic traditions, however, kind of Christianifying it. So instead of it being about evil spirits and good spirits, it was mostly just about people that we had lost in the past and a celebration in a holy way. Now, that sounds nice, right? It was an interesting mishmash of what felt culturally appropriate for Christians and then the actual Celtic religions. Knowing it as All Hallows' Day, to move back Samhain a little more, they emphasized the day before All Saints' Day, or All Hallows' Day. This was then referred to as All Hallows' Eve. October 31st, All Hallows' Eve. I get it, it's starting to come together a little bit. So, All Hallows' Eve was then a day that was also celebrated, kind of like how we celebrate Christmas Eve. This was sort of spread within the United Kingdom and Ireland and started to become more and more popular. Around this point, the old tradition of dressing up and all these different things was still kind of translated. Something that wasn't really expected was that children and teenagers would end up dressing up and committing a lot of different pranks, and these were often of a destructive nature, and the adults of the community were not happy with it. The kids would dress up, so you couldn't identify who was doing these things. These pranks would kind of go from innocent and harmless to property damage and stuff like that. So essentially, the adults started to bargain with these kids. in the sense that they would offer them treats like pastries and bread in return for not screwing their shit up. These are the blueprints for trick-or-treating. You go from house to house, basically saying trick or treat. If you don't give me a treat, I'm gonna trick you. Obviously, nowadays, at least I'd hope, we don't end up vandalizing people's homes because they don't give us treats, but at the time, things were different. The church wanted to encourage people to still dress up, but instead of doing it in a pranksterish way, they were like, you know what, you guys can still dress up, just dress up as saints and popes, and then, that'll keep it nice and holy and wholesome. On All Saints' Day, on All Hallows' Day, they did end up incorporating the tradition of going home to home. However, this was children that would often give a prayer to the family in exchange for a treat. So a lot more nice and wholesome way of doing it. I honestly feel like it would be kind of fun to be one of those kids back then because there wasn't surveillance, there wasn't pictures, you could just kind of be a prankster and wear a creepy mask and I don't know. It seemed like a lot of fun if I'm being completely honest. Now, since all this stuff is Celtic, we've got Ireland. And then, during the Irish potato famine, many of these Irish people ended up essentially immigrating to North America, which further spread these traditions. This is around the time that All Hallows Eve really started to pick up and become a celebrated holiday outside of these more niche groups. The whole thing of trick-or-treating and the pranks continued to spread, and another iconic sort of tradition of Halloween was also birthed. This being jack-o'-lanterns. Now, we may see these as innocuous little pumpkins with faces on them. However, their lore is sort of strange and a little bit dark. So it's all based off of the tale of Stingy Jack, which is a man who wasn't let into heaven or hell. This is why. Basically, Stingy Jack died and was going to hell, but was getting a final drink with the devil before he was taken to hell. But he didn't have any money. Neither did the devil. So basically, Stingy Jack was like, look Satan, look Lucifer, if you turn yourself into a golden coin, I could pay for our drinks. And then you can just take me to hell and I'll burn for eternity, right? And so the devil says, okay, yeah, that sounds like a deal. Turns himself into a coin, and then what does Jack do? Well, he doesn't spend it on the drinks, he just takes the coin and puts it in his pocket. And now the devil doesn't have any way of escaping, somehow. I thought he was all-powerful, but according to this, he isn't. He pleads and pleads with Jack to let him out, but Jack doesn't budge. Eventually, they end up coming up with a deal. So basically, the devil says, look, Jack, I will not go for your soul. You will roam the earth peacefully for the next decade. And Jack says, okay, I'll let you out. He lets the devil out. For the next 10 years, Stingy Jack roams the earth, kind of being stingy, a little sketchy, but overall living a somewhat normal life. So these 10 years pass, and the devil is, he's looking at his watch, he's marking the date. These 10 years pass, and each coming day, the devil is marking the date. He's excited to get back to Jack and bring him to hell. However, on the day that it does happen, the devil takes his soul, but as they're going to hell, they go by an apple tree, and Jack pleads to have one final meal, being just an apple from this tree. A very reasonable and innocent request. So the devil says, alright, yeah, go get an apple. But Stingy Jack isn't tall enough to get this apple. So what does he do? He asks the devil to get the apple for him. The devil says sure. Devil climbs into the tree, starts to pick the apple. However, last second, Stingy Jack pulls out a knife and starts carving a crucifix into the tree, which traps the devil in this tree. Again, the devil starts to plead and plead and plead, and eventually they come to the deal that Stingy Jack would not be let into hell. Stingy Jack and then X's out the cross, and the devil's free to go. And so is Stingy Jack. Eventually, after Stingy Jack officially dies, he tries to get into heaven, but isn't allowed because of his pranksterish nature in his life. Even though the man trapped Satan twice, you'd think you get some points for that, but I don't know. He can't go to hell either, because he's not allowed in, and I'm sure Satan's got some beef with him. So essentially what happens is that the devil hands him a turnip, which has a candle in it. And it's carved. Essentially, what Jack does for the rest of his life is roam a dark and empty earth with only the light of this turnip. This is where the name Jack-o'-lantern comes from. See, it was Irish, so Jack of Lantern, Lantern of Jack, Jack of Lantern, Jack-o'-lantern. There we go. Now, why don't we still use turnips? Well, I mean, first of all, they're terrifying. Look at this. That's what a carved turnip can look like. But also, when it came to North America, pumpkins were far more widespread, and they were the more popular gourd. There were a ton at this time of year, so the idea was basically take a pumpkin, carve it, they were also easier to carve than turnips, and then put a light in it. These were used to ward off evil spirits or even just dastardly ones like Stingy Jack. So basically, the jack-o'-lantern was used as a deterrent and then just became tradition. It wasn't until around the 1920s that Halloween really took off in the way that it is nowadays. It started to become commercialized and people started to buy costumes where in the past they were always homemade. Costumes started to be sold, candy was more of an open option, and trick-or-treating and jack-o'-lanterns and costumes, it all started to take place and become Halloween we know nowadays. They believed that it would be profitable to do this, and well, they were 1000% right. They made a good call. Whoever had the idea to make Halloween and just capitalize on it, good job. Good job. You smart. And I thank you for it. I love all this spooky stuff. But that leads us to current day. You know, I don't think you're really going to deter evil spirits from being like a sexy nurse or something like that, but you know, maybe you will. I don't know. Look, I dress up as Boba Fett for Halloween. That's how you deter a spirit. I don't know any evil spirit that wants to cross Boba Fett. I mean, it's just true. As we all know, Halloween is very heavily capitalized, right? There is Halloween stuff kind of everywhere within September and October. But in more recent years, this has not been the case as much. Now, this might sound confusing. There are literally Halloween stores that are seasonal that pop up in your old Toys R Us's. How could there not be Halloween stuff everywhere? Well, of course there is. And it's still there, it's still very plentiful. However, I'm seeing a disturbing increase in non-Halloween related items, specifically Christmas. Now, here's the thing. In my opinion, with a few exceptions, Christmas is like having Skittles, and Halloween is like having M&Ms. You don't mix Skittles and M&Ms. You just don't. You do not. They are so different. Maybe you can concoct it really well if you're like Tim Burton or something like that. But otherwise, it doesn't mix. You gotta keep them separate because they're both great on their own, but mixing them doesn't really work.
Skittles and M&Ms do not work well together.
The vibes are so separate. Even the color schemes themselves. We got red and green and white and it's all cheery, and then we got Halloween and it's black and orange and purple and green. And it's just its own complete thing, right? I've noticed a really disturbing trend in recent years. It first started all the way back in like 2015 or so. I was probably like 10 or 11, and I was at a Target. I was getting Monster cereal. You know, Count Chocula, Boo Berry, Frankenberry, all that good stuff. I'm not ashamed to say that I spend a lot of time in the Halloween aisle of different stores. You know, every store that I go to, if they've got Halloween stuff, I'm there, I'm looking at it, I'm enjoying it. I have no shame in how much of a consumer of Halloween stuff I am. It's the only time of year where I really just indulge in a bunch of stupid shit I don't need because it's got a pumpkin or a skull on it. And honestly, it's special and it's fun and I don't care what anyone says. But I noticed that in this Halloween area of my Target, if you just walked a few aisles down, they were selling Christmas trees. 2 aisles of Christmas trees. Now, to be clear, they weren't fully advertising them. They didn't have their full Christmas display up. But it was still a strange thing to see. I had never seen this in the past. Sure, in the past they may have some wreaths and some, like, you know, miscellaneous Christmas stuff sort of to the side, but this was new. And unfortunately, every year since, I've seen more and more Christmas stuff slowly start to creep its way into October. You can do this right now. Pause this video and go to your local Walmart, Target, Michael's craft store, anything. And you're gonna see Halloween stuff if you're watching this in October. But you're also gonna see Christmas stuff. And lots of it. It's incredibly disappointing to see. In my opinion, Halloween should be kept Halloween. I already think that Christmas is celebrated way too early. I don't think November 1st is the time where it's just like, alright, Halloween's over, it's Christmas time. I personally celebrate Halloween for like a day or two after. I eat my candy, and I slowly and sadly put away the decorations. But no, that's not how it works for a lot of people. I disagree with that, but you do whatever you want to do. However, to me it's gotten ridiculous when you start seeing Christmas stuff in early September, which is the disturbing trend that I've noticed recently. This year, specifically 2022, I have seen so much Christmas stuff over a month before Halloween is even happening. And it's usually not even that far from the Halloween stuff. It's not like they year-round have Christmas stuff here. No. It is specifically from September to October that they really start stocking in all this Christmas stuff. And it's disturbing to see, because it keeps creeping up every single year. There's more and more, and it's subtle. It's a pot with a frog and boiling Christmas stuff. I'm a frog, and the water is like Halloween. It's like pumpkin water. That's disgusting. I'm not making much sense now. I'm recording this at almost 4 in the morning, so excuse me if I'm a little bit manic, but it's interesting to see, because I don't want Halloween to ever be taken over by Christmas. But just the way that things are going, it really feels like it's going that way. Not that Halloween's gonna be forgotten, or that Christmas is gonna be we're celebrating Christmas Eve on October 31st, but it keeps leaning more and more towards that. And it's a disturbing reality to see, which is why I've got a call to action. If we're fighting the war on Halloween, I'm on Halloween's side, and I'd hope that you are too. I've got the perfect event, a meeting place for all of us like-minded Halloween fans. This is Smells Like Halloween Spirit, which is a Halloween live show that I'm hosting. It's a full concert with 9 different performances on October 28th, 2022. Now, this video is probably going to release on the 19th or the 20th, so you don't have too much time, but you don't need to buy your tickets in advance. You just gotta show up, $15 at the door. This is at 41 White Street, New York City, to be specific. It's in Tribeca. I want so badly for everyone who's seen this to come see the show, because it truly stands for everything that we believe in. It's Halloween. It's fun, it's spooky, it's a little scary, but it also retains that magical whimsy of Halloween. Not only am I hosting this show, but I'm also performing it. I'm closing it out with my band, Polybius. And we're essentially playing some classic Halloween songs reimagined. Think Monster Mash, Purple People Eater, Ghostbusters. Make them rock music. We're also going to be playing Helena and Cemetery Drive from My Chemical Romance. We're playing some Billy Cobb. We are going in on this thing. At the end of the show, everyone's going to be getting free candy. If you're a fan, I'll give you extra. You just gotta let me know. This show also serves as a meet and greet for me. If you want to meet and greet me, you can do that. I want everyone to come in costume. This is an early Halloween celebration. Early as in like 3 days early. But still, honestly, the more we celebrate Halloween, the better. We want to fight the good fight here. I hope to see you there, because it's going to be something special. It's going to be going on from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I'm going to be on doing my set at around 8:59 or so. So if you want to get there at around 8:50 or 9 to just see me, you can do that. Or you can see the amazing 8 other artists that are there and just enjoy the whole thing. You will not regret it. If you're in New York, come see this show. That's a space where all of us like-minded Halloween fans can meet up. We can be whole, we can be true, we can support what we believe, we can fight the good fight, supporting Halloween through all the Christmassy bullshit that it's going through. I'm a strong believer in fully supporting Halloween all the time. Hell, I even got a Halloween tattoo on my arm, right here. It's temporary, it's not real. It was around $6 at Abracadabra in New York, but look at this. I'm sure you've all heard of the movie Scream, right? My favorite horror movie, personally. The first one. It's really, really good. If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it. But it centers around a killer by the name of Ghostface. Now, he's got multiple different identities. It's basically just a costume that people adorn and they, go stabby stabby. I was inspired, so I reached out and I found the #1 provider of Christmas stuff during Halloween. Now, this guy is absolutely shameless. He sells Christmas stuff as much as he can, specifically from September to October, and then he pretty much just closes shop afterwards. He stands against everything that I stand for. So me and Ghostface are gonna pay him a bit of a visit. Just gotta get suited up first. This guy should have dressed up because this evil spirit is coming back from the dead to haunt him.
Hi, Christmas Incorporated.
What's your favorite Christmas?
Hold up 1 second, I have to put you on hold.
Wait, don't I?
Hi, Christmas Incorporated.
I'd like to buy a Christmas tree.
Sure, we can offer our October sale. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to put you on hold and get another call. Hi, Christmas Incorporated.
What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, I love the Toy Story films.
Toy Story. What?
They're good. And no, they're not just made for kids. Anybody can enjoy them.
They're not Christmas.
I'm so sorry, 1 second.
What's your name? I want to know who I'm looking at.
What?
I said, what's your name? I want to know who I'm talking to.
Huh?
Ah! I've got 2 other fish.
Stop! Or else...
Or else what?
I have a boyfriend! And he's 6 feet tall with shoes on, and he plays football.
I thought you didn't have a boyfriend.
No, I never said that.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's fine.
Let's play a game of hide and seek. Try and find me. In your house! You got it.
Where are you, you sick freak? Where are you?
I do.
Ooh, ow, yeah!
Now answer for your crimes against Halloween.
Why do you do what you do?
I eat because I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I eat.
What? You know what? You're not so bad, man. Why don't we just, get a cup of eggnog, right? Yeah. You like Adam Sandler movies?
I mean, they're alright.
Yeah, his 2000s movies are a little too bad for my taste. When Hubie Halloween came out in 2020, he really hit it off. The whole film's got a sheen of constant professionalism that really shines in the movie's songs. The Monster Mash. The acting is just next level, and it really is perfect. Adam Sandler kicks it straight out of the park. It's been compared to his earlier work, but I feel as though Hubie has a far less bitter and cynical sense of humor.
Why is there a copy of Star of Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary's Men, Women, and Money on the counter? Do you have a man, woman, or money? Is that a Ghostface costume?
Yes, it is, sir. In 2020, Adam released this, Hubie Halloween. What I think is his undisputed masterpiece. It features the Monster Mash, a song so catchy people usually don't listen to the lyrics, but they should, because it's not just a song about zombies, Draculas, and vampires, but it's a personal statement about horror at the time. Hey, sir! Ah!
I began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the Monster Mash.
Now I've done it! I finally saved Halloween! Let's check out Target.
He did the Monster Mash from my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes. They did the Monster Mash.
Next to the Halloween stuff. Like in the Halloween aisle. This is despicable. Completely despicable. Okay, you got candy, it's Halloween, makes sense, but... Oh, really? Yeah, so it turns out, killing that guy didn't do anything, and Christmas is gonna continue to be capitalized on during Halloween.
They played the Monster Mash.